Really quickly, before this video begins, all of these takes are just my personal opinion and probably suck. I'd like to hear why they suck, if you agree, and what would you put in your tier lists. Also, this is a freaking long video, so put it up to 2x speed, get some snacks, do whatever. This is pretty casual, just chatting about my thoughts and feelings of the Spike 2 Stern generation. But yeah, again, these are just my thoughts. If you love James Bond and I'm talking smack about James Bond, tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. All right, let's get back to the video. With the recent release of Stern's Star Wars for the Empire, marked an end to the Stern Spike 2 era. So I figured we'd do a quick tier list of all the games that Stern's released since about 2016. For those that don't know what a Spike 2 game is, it's pretty much any game that Stern's released since they started putting LCD screens in the back box. And the recent Star Wars game is the first Spike 3 release. So Spike 2 era has ended, and has been quite a significant and a pretty damn good era, if you had to ask me. But today we're going to be ranking them all on a tier list here, real quick. Try keep it fast. I could spend 10 hours doing this, but that is something I would much rather not do. So we'll keep it fast, and we'll start things off in chronological order with Batman 66. I can bring that over here. Designed by George Gomez, Batman 66 kind of marked quite the start to Spike 2, having like two LCD screens. You got one like on the playfield and then the big one up top. But in terms of rules and layout, maybe this is a hot take, but it's kind of average. I don't know. Doesn't really do it for me. If you're going for big scores, as far as I'm aware, there's kind of just one one strategy to go for. Not easy to do. I've only come close to even pulling it off. Haven't racked up hundreds of billions yet. But aside from that, it's speeding through these, I would say Batman is somewhere between B and C. I'll chuck it in C for now, and we'll depending on what other games end up in B or C, I might move it up or keep it down there. One thing I will say that I really like about Batman is you can hold the action button at any point to like change the priority of the insert coloring. So if you're in a multi-ball and you've brought a mode into it, the multi-ball, all the lights will be focused on the jackpots for the multi-ball. But if you want to focus on the mode instead, you can hold the button down and it will show you the mode lights over the multi-ball jackpots. Which more games should use? I can't think of a game that has used that kind of thing since. Next up, we'll go Aerosmith. Stern's the first kind of Spike 2 release in terms of cornerstone games. Aerosmith, I'm thinking C tier. It's a pretty sick game, pretty sick art package. Like it's a cool game, but I feel as though the code isn't that deep. And when I say deep, I mean a bit repetitive in terms of from my time on the game. There's a decent selection of modes they're going to go through, but you can choose them all from the start button, and there's just kind of like a couple multi-balls to bring in with those. And I'm sure there's some mini wizard modes that are pretty cool in there that I've never reached in my time. But including that with a layout that's a bit anticlimactic, it's getting C tier from me. I will say that that toy box mech is definitely one of the coolest mechs in all of pinball, and feeding the ball into it, jumping into that box is pretty much why it's in C tier and not D tier. Next up, massive title. We've got Stern's Star Wars 2017 Steve Ritchie design. I'm going to be honest right now. This game is doo-doo. This is going E tier without a doubt. This is I would rather it's pretty rare like if you put a pinball machine in front of me that I'm not going to play it. But I would probably much rather twiddle with my thumbs than be forced to play Star Wars. I think the layout's pretty bad, very bad, and the rules. I kind of like the mode structure. I do enjoy it, but it's not very clear. I don't think the game's very clear from like the playfield just doesn't read to you. I don't know, or at least in my experience. And Yeah, I don't know. Game just sucks, and that multiplier is doo doo. But the video mode's kind of charming, and only kind of in a hindsight way. I know when I first witnessed it, I was pretty disappointed. It was quite the laughing stock. But that's all good. I know it's got its fans. It's a pretty divisive game, and I think the reason it's so divisive is because the theme is so loved by so many people, and to have Stern kind of shit the bed a little with the with Star Wars just kind of adds fuel to the fire there. And I will say, I know there's already going to be a lot of people that don't agree with these opinions, and my thoughts and feelings on these games change day to day. You know, if I did this video in a week's time, the list would probably look a lot different. But if you disagree with me, please let me know. I look forward to reading any comments of people disagreeing or agreeing. There's no right or wrong here. I'm just being a bit pessimistic with looking at these older Stern titles now. Next up, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, a another pretty mid game. Layout is what's it stolen from Metallica, which already just like rubs me the wrong way. You know, is the the kind of creativeness and the willingness to do something new with pinball instead of just recycling a layout. And it's not exactly like Metallica, but it's pretty damn close in terms of just like shot for shot. But yeah, the group mech's pretty sick, and it is a Borg design, so like the shots are pretty tight, but do feel good when they're made. But aside from that, the rules are similar to Aerosmith in my opinion, from my experiences with both of the games. You've got modes you can pick from the plunger, which I'm already not a fan of, and then you've got like two multi balls you can kind of do on the side with them as well. But it's not a bad game, but it's nothing of greatness in my opinion. But all of that changes when Keith Elwin enters the chat. Next game that Stern released was Iron Maiden: Legacy of the Beast, and instant S tier in my opinion. I don't think there's many games that come close to Iron Maiden when comparing in a list like this. Iron Maiden's one of those games where everything is done right, and like I know people seem to think that like a designer should have a theme in mind when they're designing like a kind of shot map kind of thing. But if you know anything about the history of Iron Maiden, you know that Keith Elwin designed his own homebrew game in his basement for the TV show Archer, and then that game got picked up by Stern, and Stern said, "Hey, can you turn it into an Iron Maiden game?" And so the layout was not designed with any thematic kind of intentions, but when you when you design an A plus layout and an A plus rule set, and the theme integration in terms of the rules and everything like that, I think the theme is really well integrated into the game. Like it's a true Iron Maiden pinball machine, you know. Everything about it is pretty damn perfect, if you ask me. It's pretty hard to top Iron Maiden, in my opinion. And straight after that, Stern puts out another banger. Was kind of slept on when it first came out. It's Deadpool, designed by George Gomez of Batman '66 fame. And I reckon, in my opinion, Deadpool is right next to Iron Maiden, in my opinion. Well, I think Iron Maiden's the better game, but I think there's something about Deadpool. You know, I think the layout's pretty near perfect. The rules are really well done, and kind of the whole package. You know, the call outs, all the music that they designed for the game, and all the effects on screen. It's one of the best packages in all of pinball, without a doubt. And yeah, instant S tier in my opinion. I didn't play it too much upon release, and I know kind of the wider pinball community kind of disregarded it at first. But in recent years, it's definitely come back into the light, and for good reason. I think it's like if you're not a pinball player and you want to get into pinball, I think Deadpool's one of the best games you can play, in my opinion. Next up, not a cornerstone release, you could argue, and there's a couple Stern releases that weren't cornerstones that I've left out of this list, like Metallica Remastered, because I don't really care for the remasteredness of it. But Beatles, technically a retheme of a real old Stern game called Sea Witch. In my opinion, A tier, I reckon. It's a sick layout, it's a good time, and the rules are good. I really like the mode kind of progression. It's really short playing, and the rules and code really kind of make up for it. I'm pretty sure it's a real spinny game. Wasn't too involved with the release of this game. I wasn't. looking at the prices or anything like that. But I do hear from people say like, "Oh, why would you pay this much for a game that doesn't even have a ramp?" But I tell you what, I'd rather pay double for Beatles than get a Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. I reckon Beatles is a pretty damn good time, and if you're looking for just some good pinball action, Beatles is what you want. A tier for sure. Next up, we have a game I'm kind of undecided on. Pretty disregarded or disliked from what I've seen from the pinball community, and understandably so. The Munsters is a game with little to do and nothing new to shoot, if that makes sense. The layout is pretty stock standard. If if I were to ask ChatGPT to design me a pinball machine, I feel like it could spit out a shot map similar to the Munsters. In saying that, I had the opportunity to play. You don't see these around very often, especially in a public kind of setting. But I had the opportunity to play one back in January, and it played pretty damn good. It was in a tournament setting, and the ramps like butter. So if you have a good playing Munsters, I think there's some sort of value in it, in just shooting it alone. I think those ramps are really cool, but I think overall, with the when you've got a game, when you've got like a modern layout, like a modern John Borg layout, fucking fanning, you've got Big Bash toy, two ramps and orbits and pop bumpers. Nothing new, nothing special, but it's designed for longer play, right? You don't have any. It's like it's got ball save, it's got all that. It's designed for longer, the home market, right? That's what games are designed for now. You got to have a rule set that encourages that sort of depth. Like I'm sure 80% of like owners of the Munsters wouldn't have made it further than the current kind of shallow rule set that exists on it now. But I think when owners know that there's nowhere else to go, they've done the game. They almost feel like, I don't know, kind of no reason to come back to it. Whereas like Adam's Family, it's a it's a shallow game compared to what we got now, but the difficulty of the layout, not just from like a shot point of view, but all the different ball feeds, barely any of them directly come back to your flippers. It really rewards like flipper skill and accurate shots. Whereas the Munsters, I feel like if you miss a shot, it's pretty easy to recover, and it's got that long gameplay. And Adam's Family has a pretty achievable wizard mode on paper, but doing it in person is a whole nother beast. And I don't know, I feel like the Munsters with its shallow rule set and modern design just doesn't have that longevity, even for players that wouldn't necessarily get any further than the current rule set. But the layout's pretty nice, so I think that's why I've got it above Star Wars there. Next up, the closest thing we've really gotten to an original theme in a while from Stern. That is Black Knight Sword of Rage, designed by Steve Ritchie. He's designed the third game in his Black Knight trilogy. And I did a mock-up tier list before recording this video, and I wasn't really too sure on where to put Black Knight. It's kind of, I don't know. I think there's a lot they got right. And then there's also just there's not a lot happening at the same time. I don't know how to put it. Like it's a very fast-paced game. Like whereas I said Munsters is pretty long playing, Black Knight's nowhere near as long playing. You got all the shots right in front of your flippers, practically in a straight line, and only like half of them will ever feed your flipper directly if you make them anyway. Saying that, the premium LE sucks, without a doubt. That upper play field just like goes against the game that's like the game that's in front of you. It's not well integrated at all. It's boring, and it's pretty exploitable. And you could argue, like upper play fields, like on the previous games, that's all you want to get up to, and you can exploit, Black Knight 2000. But in a modern game like this, where you're expecting more depth and just more to do, we expect more from modern games because they're going in home environments, and we have the technology to support it. And when you've got that upper play field, just like just stalling the ball and doing all the work for you, it kind of just takes away from the rest of the game. And saying that, a Black Knight, the third game in the Black Knight series, when pictures leaked of it online, and there was rumors that the Pro wouldn't have an upper play field, I was very confused. I don't know what the community was thinking, but I was very confused as to how you could even fathom making a Black Knight game without an upper playfield. Um, and for that, I'm thinking C tier because it's not a monsters, but I think as a Black Knight, as the third game of the Black Knight series, it's a bit of a letdown in regards to the whole like just how they completely messed up the upper playfield. But if you isolate it and kind of think of it just as a game by itself, you've never played the first two games, you've got no attachment to them, and you just like see this heavy metal game in front of you. The pro, that is, there is definitely a lot of fun to be had with really hard shots, really cool theme. Like the Black Knight theme has always been awesome. The art's always been top tier. The music's top tier, and pretty standard rules. Mode multi-ball kind of structure to this game off the top of my head. There are a few multi-balls, there's like a retro multi-ball I've witnessed, but I think I'm pretty comfortable putting it in C tier. Um, and what's really letting it down is the legacy of the Black Knight. How not living up to that legacy, in my opinion. Next up, we also have a game I don't know how to rank. That's Jurassic Park. I think most people would either chuck it in S or A tier, and I can understand why. However, I think the game's a bit weird. I don't know. It's like I think the rules are very tricky to understand, and like I'm just saying that from experience. It took me years of like playing this game on and off at random tournaments to figure out what on earth's actually happening. I couldn't figure out like the paddocks. Like I could understand the structure of them, but I didn't understand the purpose. I wasn't seeing any like scoring benefits right away, and like I didn't really like the map's pretty. Like if you want to travel through the whole map, that's pretty intimidating. I kind of want a bit more instant gratification from the paddocks in that regard. But there is a lot to it. I do enjoy playing Jurassic Park. I think I'm thinking A or B tier for now. We'll chuck it in A tier, but it could go down to B tier. I think the right side of the game's a bit meh. I don't know, something about the geometry's cool and it's not. I really like the right ramp, very hard shot. The right orbit's also very hard, and just I don't know. On paper, I like the layout, but when it comes to playing it, I think the difficulty of it maybe lets it down. Whereas Iron Maiden definitely has difficult shots, but it also has like accessible shots, and most of those accessible shots don't directly feed a flipper and kind of put the ball out of control. So it kind of evens out in that regard. I don't know. Jurassic Park. I don't know why I'm speaking so low of a game. I've literally got sitting in A tier, but we might have to come back to that one at the end because I'm just a bit. My feelings aren't concrete on this one. Next up, not a cornerstone release, but a third in the trilogy. We've got Elvira's House of Horrors from Stern Pinball. If we get that real big, third game designed by Dennis Nordman, I believe, off the top of my head, is coming off a just like Black Knight, coming off of two very well-loved games and well-loved by me as well. I think those Elvira games are some of the best of their time. I don't really know where to put this one because the layout shoots really nice. It's nothing new, I think. And like obviously, no, there's nothing new in pinball design at this point. Like everything that can be thought of is kind of done, but it's how it's integrated, if that makes sense. There's nothing new with this layout. It doesn't impress me. I'll say that, but it does shoot very well. It's a bit like Monsters in that regard. However, I reckon it shoots a lot better than Monsters. It's got the ramps are really nice. The orbits are pretty standard, but they're still very nice. And the house shot feels pretty good when you shoot it. However, just like the other Elvira games, and especially Elvira and the Party Monsters specifically, Elvira and the Party Monsters isn't a layout to rave home about, but the rules and the theme make that game. And just like that, Elvira's House of Horrors, I think I'm debating between A or B tier again. I think the rules and the presentation of this game, some of the best that Stern's ever done. I love when you finish a mode, they let you like cash in that mode value again, or you can like shoot the ramps and like double that value kind of thing. For those who know what I'm talking about and know I kind of mansplained it a bit there, but I think there's really cool rules, and I guess it's got just kind of like a mode multi-ball kind of structure that I've complained about on other games, just having like one line of modes you go through and a couple multi-balls on the side, a main multi-ball and a quick multi-ball. But I think it's done well in this game, and I don't know how to put it into words. But maybe it's just because I'm having a good time. All the modes are very distinct. However, you have to shoot that house a lot in this game. I was playing what's it, Stern's Mandalorian a lot before I had the opportunity to play this game, and just like Mandalorian, you're shooting up the middle constantly. So I'm kind of think we might go B tier. I think due to a layout that isn't anything new. I don't know. No, I think B tier is good. B tier is good. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun, and it's great. B tier is absolutely good. Next up, we have Stranger Things, a game with not the strongest launch. A lot of issues revolving like the Demogorgon and like the UV light kits, stuff like that. However, my issue was that the game looked boring as just like a medieval badness attack from Mars kind of clone in terms of like the shot map on paper. You know what I mean? And that is true. However, playing it in person, this game is it's freaking hard, man. Like those shots, they're wide open. But if you miss a shot, you're in a lot of danger. This game isn't as easy as say Medieval Madness or Attack from Mars. And I think the rules on this game are pretty good too. I do like how you got to shoot a shot 3 times to do your mode. A bit like it's not like Attack from Mars, but it's got that kind of Attack from Mars feel. You got to shoot all the shots 3 times to kind of qualify that shot towards total annihilation multi-ball. And I do like the mode structure on Stranger Things, and going up the middle, you've got lots of modes there with Demogorgon. I think Stranger Things is a bit boring on the theme side of things. Nothing against the TV show, but nothing crazy. The projector's cool on paper. I find it's just a glorified TV screen in a playfield, which doesn't do anything for me already. Yeah, I think Stranger Things might be C tier. I think it might just sit there. I think the projector is really cool in theory. Maybe if it was executed a bit more like a Pinball 2000 kind of setup, but just when you're playing it, it's just an excuse to have TV clips from what I've witnessed. Like I know the ramps kind of have lights on them, but I find it just doesn't warrant it just doesn't warrant the extra cost. Next game we have I feel like this is quite the divisive game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Although probably pretty well or pretty universally agreed that it's a pretty average to low average game. I think when you have kind of lower expectations going into it, I think there's a lot of fun to be had. It's a pretty tough layout. None of the shots are too easy, to be honest with you. It's you really gotta gotta be precise when you're making any of the shots in this game. I don't know. I think I've got a little bias for this game, and that's because I played it in a lot of local tournaments over the last few years, and was able to do pretty consistently well on it in those tournaments due to just people not knowing the rules of it. But I do have my critiques, and if I was in the Stern team and they said, Ashley, what's one change you'd make to any of these games? I would say you need to put an extra 0 on the end of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or just double the scoring straight from the get-go, because people, from what I've heard at local tournaments from people that just like to play casually and socially, they don't like how low scoring it is. It's one of the lowest scoring one of the lowest scoring Stern games in recent years. And nothing against low scoring games. However, it's a psychological thing. If getting 20 million on Turtles, especially when you don't know what you're really doing, is quite an achievement. But 20 million when you're so used to like having skill shots on some games that are worth 20 million, it's like it can be a bit disheartening to see all this work you put into the game just to see only 20 million points on the board. So I think just putting an extra 0 on the end, make it 200 million, make it super high scoring. Just in an update like that, make it something subtle. People will come back to the game and they'll think like, wow, I'm really good at this game. I didn't realize I was this good at it. I must be getting better, and they're going to be more inclined to play it. Like just that little change will, I reckon, boost the public perception of turtles, even just by a smidgen. And like people that like are really deep into pinball won't fall for it, but they don't need to. They're already able to put up 500 million on turtles. In terms of the scoring side of the actual value of the scoring, from what I've witnessed, there's two main multi-balls in the game, and they're both worth quite a decent chunk of points. And if you don't execute those multi-balls to their kind of full potential, you're kind of stranded. It's pretty hard to pick up points from then on without grinding out a bunch of modes, from my experience at least, and especially my experience playing this in tournaments. If you fumble those first two multi-balls, you're there's not many points to grab for the rest of your game there. I'm thinking turtles. I feel a bit bad putting it next to monsters because turtles. I enjoy the layout. I enjoy the artwork, but the rules and scoring is just pretty bad on it. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's C tier worthy though. I'm like seeing it next to. Oh no, okay, it's C tier worthy. I feel a bit bad putting Batman 66 and Turtles in the same tier. Like I think you could easily argue that Batman's a way better game, but that's just I guess that's just how it is today. Next up, we've got Keith Elwin's third release, and I feel like widely kind of accepted that it's his weakest release. Avengers Infinity Quest, a very interesting layout. It's there's nothing like it in recent memory that I can think of. It's a freaking weird layout, and in all the right ways to clarify. You've got like a center ramp. You've got that ramp that can be hit from all three flippers. On the premium, you've got the Captain Marvel ramp, which I think is sick. However, I think just a bit like Jurassic Park, shots ain't easy. It's quite the effort making a lot of these shots. And even worse than Jurassic Park, the rules are confusing as hell. Like, one thing I'm not a fan of is the gems and specifically how you get to choose a shot to put them on, if that makes sense. Because I don't know what any of them do. I know like they all have their own properties, and there's like 5 or 6 of them you got to collect. However, as someone who doesn't know what they do, I don't want to put them on the wrong shot. And I could research where's the best place to put the gems, and I'm sure Keith Elwin's balanced the rule set enough to make it that like there's no bad place to put the gems. They all can be used to their full potential in different ways on different shots, and I'm sure that is the case. However, I would much rather it be a classic shot multiplier. And I know what I'm saying. I'm saying like some of these games aren't doing anything new. Their rules are just a string of modes and 2 multi-balls with a wizard mode tucked in there. And then here we have this game with a lot going on, and every time you complete a mode, you get this crazy gem that alters the scoring and whatnot. But I think just the way it's like explained in the presentation of the inserts and the dialogue and all that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. It's it's a freaking hard game to play, and it's a freaking confusing rule set. Like I understand, you can smack Thor multi-ball, that little captive ball, bring in a little Thor multi-ball. Heaps of things you can do to do portal locks. I can never figure them out. Like I know, like if you do a Hawkeye thing, you get it, and like maybe something on the bingo card drop targets. I think I'm thinking B tier for Avengers because the layout on paper is one of the best, I reckon. That just even just the drops on the left, and then the spinner coming around to the pop bumpers, and then the flipper in between. It's a real masterclass in game design. I think, however, the shots are freaking hard, and even that, I think that right orbit always like, and even that side shot always like kind of bails out and falls into the pops, and just like, or at least on like the 1 or 2 copies I've had a bit of time on. And the Pro, I think the lack of that Captain Marvel ramp is a bit boring. I find that Captain Marvel just like spinner shot. I think that's super boring and a real shame. Yeah, I think because the layout is a real masterclass in game design, it's going B tier for me because there's still a lot of fun to be had on it. Don't get me wrong, but the rules and presentation the presentation of the rules, I'm sure there's some great rules in there. Just doo-doo. So it only gets a B tier, which is still a great road to land up in. Next up, we have, following the release of Avengers, the highly anticipated Led Zeppelin pinball, rumored for years. Very expensive license, I could imagine, similar to the Beatles, designed by Steve Ritchie. If I'm not mistaken, his last layout before leaving Stern. And Led Zeppelin's an interesting one. This is a game I own and have owned since release, and so I know this game in and out. And there's a lot of, what's the word I'm thinking of? Sentimental value with this game. Regardless, all of these other games don't have like any real sentimental value to me, or at least like none of them have like any major imbalances compared to the rest, except for Led Zeppelin, in my opinion. But there's a few gripes with the layout. The layout's cool. Like on paper, it's cool. However, there's a side shot. If you know, you know. It's like, it's just not good. At the end of the day, it's a waste of a flipper. The left side of the layout, I reckon, is pretty sick. And it's a shame that the top flipper is so underused, because hitting that spinner and then feeding another shot, I reckon, would have been awesome on Zeppelin. The right orbit and right ramp could have been designed better, in my opinion. Or they could have been made easier, is what I should say. I'm sure they're designed brilliantly, Steve Ritchie, yada yada. But I think when you're on the left flipper, there's just no shot to go for except for that right ramp or the right orbit, and just like two very hard shots. I do have my gripe with the rules, and they're and I think it kind of suffers. It suffers from there's no progression in the presentation of the game. Right off the plunge, you can choose like one of 10 songs, which is a lot of songs to choose from, especially with how they're integrated into the game. It takes a long time to get through every single song if you are going for the wizard mode. But right off the plunge, you're presented with you can choose any of the song modes, and they're just always kind of running in the background, just giving you more score, and you're slowly like collecting enough records based on song shots to like have completed that song and move on to the next. And so right away, you're already like choosing these songs is nothing. It's new every game if you haven't played it before. But once you've played it, I'm lacking for words. But I'll move on to my next kind of point that backs us up, and that's the tours. Your tours are kind of like your modes. They compare them to the bounties and Jaws. You can kind of choose between these 4 modes, and they all have like specific game related objectives, like 50 spins, 10 pop bumpers, 6 ramps, that kind of thing. And once you complete these, you get a quick multi-ball lit on that same shot. It's a cool rule, but you can shoot. I just feel like you're always in the same state of this game. You're always like, once you complete a song, you just choose another song that you could have chosen from the plunger. You complete a tour, cool, you go to the next tour. It might be a little harder, but it's nothing crazy harder. And you do this for so long. You gotta have completed 5 songs, like a minimum of 5 songs before starting like your first mini wizard mode. And it takes ages, and I just feel like you're always in the same state of gameplay. You're always like just in a song, going through a tour, and it gets freaking repetitive. And it's a shame, because I feel like if you're looking for a music pin, the Led Zeppelin song modes are the most integrated modes of any music pin out there. Like, they literally respond to the song and like go with the structure and all that. Like, it is the most integrated song modes you get out there, like hands down, from like a song point of view. But there's just you're just always in the same spot until you've played it for like 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden, finally something new's lit, and you've got some new multi-balls to play. So that's kind of my gripe with it. And the multiplier is dumb. It's cool, but it's dumb. It's just like, it's extremely, there's, as far as I'm aware, there might be a cap on it, but it might be like something like 500x, like something stupid. And it's so exponential in raising that multiplier that like once you've got it up to 30x, you're pretty close to getting it to 50x, 70, 100, 200, 250, you know what I mean? And like, it just defeats doing anything else in the game unless you have a crazy multiplier going. Like, there's no point trying to like do these tour multi-balls and get the super jackpot ready unless you've got a multiplier ready to pair with it. Otherwise, it's worth nothing. And I think how they should have done it is you've got the four band symbols, and I really love the whole like how they multiply each other. I think it's really cool. Except it's just the multiplier gets too high. I think that just needs to be plus. They just need to plus each other, and that each band member needs to cap out at 1x. So if you max out all band members, start your multiplier 4x max. I think that's the way to do it, and I think that's going to encourage people to cash out their multiplier a lot more. And I also have a gripe with how to rack up your multiplier. It's based on combos, and the difficulty of the right ramp on this game makes combos extremely hard to like pull off to a large extent. Like, you're not getting a 10-way combo on this thing unless like you had like a real god tier right ramps. I don't know. Like, it's not. There's no flow in this game, and to have such a crazy score based like scoring based opportunity on combos and flow on a game with no flow and like very limited combo opportunities. It's just counterintuitive, in my opinion. And this is coming from someone who has played this game a hell of a lot. So I'm thinking we're gonna chuck it in C tier. Anyway, that's my my Led Zeppelin rant over. I don't know if there's many videos out there on people kind of critiquing that game, because there's not many Led Zeppelin games out there anyway. They stopped producing them pretty early on. Next game, just looking at the time, we'll try rush through these recent ones, eh? Mandalorian, more like Mandaborian or Boringlin, Boringen, I don't know. It's like if you're looking for an average pinball machine, Mandalorian is it. Cool fan layout. It's cool, I guess. You got some ramps, you got some orbits. You can shoot up the middle for 10 minutes straight if you like. Super crap upper playfield section. Like, it's kind of cute having like the shape of the helmet as the playfield. Like, it looks cute at first, and then you play it and you go, oh, that's it. The rules are good enough. So you got modes you tune through. You got a few multi balls. We got the main multi ball you kind of go through. It's cool. I like the progression of the game, and you got to complete the upper player fields. I love the mini wizard mode, like kind of structure and how it relates back to the game. But it's pretty boring, and relighting modes is kind of dumb. I feel like there's some things that just don't mean anything, like the hunter kind of orbit little modes that happen from time to time. The foundry where you can buy things, I feel like they're really anticipated as this like brand new feature to pinball, but it's just not. You just like buy an outlane ball, save, and call it a day. Pretty average game. Like it's cool. I like playing it in a tournament setting. Every now and again, but yeah, it is what it is. Next up, we have Instant S tier. I think the only people that disagree with Godzilla being in the S tier are people that are just sick of hearing about how it's in the S tier. Godzilla is like if Iron Maiden is a masterclass in like how to do a pinball machine, Godzilla is like somebody like learnt everything they could from Iron Maiden, and then like went back to the 90s, put in a few more like cool, really cool big mechs in it, and banged out Godzilla. Godzilla, like I think it's Stern's best-selling game, and that's awesome. Godzilla really proves that we don't need big rock and roll theme, superhero themes to sell pinball machines. I've never seen a Godzilla movie, but I'm a fan of the franchise. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where if you can get someone hooked on the world, on the theme, on these characters through the medium of pinball, you know you've made a good game. Godzilla, when the trailer came out, and it's the only time it's happened, trailer came out, you just knew. I think everybody around the world, when they saw the trailer, they knew this was it. I could speak about this game for hours, but I'll cut it short. S tier layout, S tier rules, and just S tier package theme integration. I will say, I wish I could double flip and skip way more than they let me right now, but it's a very nitpick on my end. Next up, following the success of Godzilla, a band that everyone was complaining about upon release, and kind of one of the last music pins that Stern put out, maybe due to the backlash, or maybe just them running out of classic appealing bands to go from. We got Rush, one of the greatest bands of all time, but was not expecting to get a pin out of it. This is probably the game I've spent probably the least amount of time on. I haven't had the most access to this game from a public location, and I've only really played it in tournaments every now and again. So my knowledge on this game isn't the greatest. And just like Guardians was to Metallica, Rush was a recycled layout from John Borg's previous games. One of his previous games, X-Men, the 2013, 2012 one, not the recent one. And like, it's not a bad layout. Like, it's a good layout on paper. And it does. I wish he would not recycle layouts. It's a real shame. But just like any board game, it's tight. The shots are tight. It's really fast. Yeah, I'm really blanking on this one. I'm thinking. I know people love this game, but I think this is like the one kind of case where, just due to my lack of experience on this game, I just don't know where to put it. I hear everyone rave about it. I played it a lot. Like, I've put up like a 4 billion game on it in the past, like and kind of like one of my first times playing it. But I don't remember what on earth I was doing. I don't know. It's kind of, it feels a bit like Turtles in terms of the how the shots kind of feel. I don't know if that's fair to say, but I know the rules are cool, but I don't know. We're going C tier for now. I don't need to talk about it for any longer. I don't know the game enough. Next up, we've got James Bond. I was highly anticipating this game due to COVID and all those related delays. Stern hadn't put out a game for maybe nine months, maybe, and given their track record in the past of always pumping out games, this was quite the wait, especially after Rush, which wasn't the most well-received game at launch. We had James Bond, originally designed by Steve Ritchie before he went off and joined Jersey Jack Pinball. Thank God they're his problem now. We had George Gomez come in and scrap his design and do his own thing. And this was his second game. Well, this was his first game after Deadpool. And Deadpool, as I said before, was S tier. I can't praise it enough, basically. So I was really anticipating James Bond to be something great. However, this game sucks, man. This game is awful. It's ugly. It shoots like crap. The rules are pretty cool. Like, I mean, there's definitely a lot more in this game now than when it came out. When this game came out, it would rival Star Wars with how bad it is. It would be in the bottom tier right now if they'd never updated it and just left it as it was. This game sucked. They've added a lot. There's a lot more in the game. There's like that James Bond mode. You can now stack modes and multi-balls together. Thank God. But it's just not fun, man. It shoots like doo-doo. You get locked into modes that piss me off. It just like I really don't like this game. However, I will give Gomez credit and that he's always bringing something new to the table with all his games, and I think there is some very interesting ideas in the shot map. That whole rocket section, how like the ball can go behind it and feed the top flipper, and that there being like that shot behind the flipper that feeds the pops. I think that's cool on paper. And the whole like ramps that morph into one, I think that's cool. However, when you go to shoot them, it's not cool. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good. That shot below the left flipper sucks, man. I don't know what Keith Elwin was doing when Gomez was making this game, but he's got pretty much the exact same shot in King Kong, except he actually designed it to work. To like not reject. I don't know why he didn't give Gomez a few pointers. Maybe Gomez has been in the industry for decades. Elwin doesn't even have 1 decade in the design industry under his belt yet. But I would have it would have been good if he had given Gomez a few pointers on Bond. Anyway, enough negativity. I don't want to think about that game too much. We have Foo Fighters, Jack Danger's first cornerstone design, and what a banger straight out the gate. He kind of like it's the closest. So if James Bond wasn't the follow up to Deadpool that I was wishing it was, Foo Fighters is. I believe it's the same kind of dude on rules, the team that did the rules on Deadpool. I'm pretty sure they did it on Foo Fighters, roughly. Could be wrong there. I'm not too sure. The rules are great. The rules are amazing, and it is just a string of modes and two multi balls you can go for when you really boil it down. But the way they're integrated is pretty spot on. The theming is great. I couldn't care about the band, to be honest with you, but the way they've executed, like the Saturday morning cartoon with it, it's perfect. The humor's great. The shots are great. Like, it's a really good shooting game. Like, everyone says Steve Ritchie's the king of flow, but I would argue this game has the most flow out of any game I've ever played. I think Foo Fighters, hands down, is the best flowing pinball machine of all time. It's a tier, S tier layout. It is absolutely amazing. Yeah, I was originally putting this in A tier, and I'm listening to myself talk about it, and now I'm kind of like kind of thinking, have I made the wrong decision? Should it be an S tier? Especially because I'm looking at it next to like the Beatles and Jurassic Park, and Foo Fighters is a way better game than those two. Yeah, I think it's Foo Fighters is if Keith Elwin wasn't making games, Foo Fighters would definitely be one of the best of the last 10 or so years, without a doubt. Then we have Jaws, a game that I was quite what's the word disappointed by when the trailer came out. I This was the follow up to Godzilla, and quite the wait indeed. I think COVID kind of pushed back everyone's schedules, and so it'd been maybe even 2 years since Godzilla came out, and that's it's quite a long time when it comes to pinball releases. And so there was a lot of anticipation on Jaws, especially because of how like big the movie is. Now, have I seen the movie? Not really. I don't really know the movie. I'm not like I don't think you really need to be a fan of the movie to like the game, because it's just Shark the pinball machine if you don't care about the movie, which is cool. However, it's just not the layout, especially on the Pro. It just wasn't as what's the word? The shots all felt very isolated. If I put it right, none of it, like Godzilla, I feel like all of the shots really felt like they had purpose, and like they were next to shots for this reason, and they crossed over, and it all felt really well integrated, like a puzzle that's all come together. I feel like Jaws, every shot's so isolated from each other. They have none of the shots are the shape they are because they're on that point in the playfield and next to another shot. And I'm definitely wrong when I say that, because I've heard Keith Elwin talk about how he designed this game and how he wanted to put this thing in, and that really affected this shot here. And even just like having that shark fin really like limited where he could put shots and stuff like that, and having that real shot crossover into the baby flipper. How that really limited all these crossover things. And I was just saying how there was like no crossing over, but all these kind of subtle crossovers really limited where he could put shots. And I'm not saying that they're bad shots. Like, I think all of these shots feel great to shoot, except one. But all these shots feel great. But I think I don't know. I'm not a fan of games where they have a third flipper, and that third flipper is a baby flipper. There's just something about it. Just like, and it shouldn't be a complaint, but it is. Something about It's about games like Family Guy, Toy Story, and there's probably a few others where they kind of have a baby flipper instead of a full, kind of like where a full flipper would typically be. It's just it kind of I don't know. I feel like I'm really putting this game down. There's a lot I really like about it. Like, I really like how all the modes are on their own shot, and it really makes you think about what shot you want to choose once you've like hit the shark. And like, if you're on one flipper, how do I get it to the other flipper to cash in this mode I really want to play? And I love the shark fin. I think the shark itself doesn't have enough inserts, or like it's got one massive insert, and especially on the Pro, when it doesn't lift up or anything like that, you just shoot in the boat. Especially on the Pro, it's a bit hard to tell the value of the shark shot that's lit right now, because it's on or off for the most part. Like, sure, you get flashing, but if there was like some color to it, or like a second insert pointing at it, I would have a better time understanding the value of the shark in that specific moment. I really like closing the beaches on it. I feel like that's sick. And the captive ball, I feel, works really well in the playfield. I know I talked a lot of smack about the playfield, but as I'm thinking about it more, I really appreciate certain aspects of it. And I think the chum bucket captive ball is pretty well executed in the grand scheme of the game. But I hate that reel shot. It's a shot on the kind of right-hand side of the playfield that does that spinny disc. That shot sucks. Really sucks. So I'm thinking B tier. I've spoken enough about this game. I've talked enough trash. There's a lot of positive stuff I have to say about this game, but we're gonna cut it off there. I think Jaws is B tier. It's a fucking fun game to play. I do enjoy it and go out of my way to play it when I do. So we'll leave it like that. Next up, we have John Wick. Now, I'm just gonna say it off the bat. I don't know if it's C or D tier, if I'm being honest with you. Like I'm looking at some of these C tier games like Black Knight, Aerosmith, Batman, and all of those games are definitely better than John Wick. I'm just going to put John Wick in D tier. I think a bit like the Monsters. If you get one that shoots really nice, it's really cool to play. We've got one locally that shoots like butter. It's really cool to play. However, I just struggle to care about the game when I'm playing it. It's just like the modes will feel the same. And this next gripe is very one-off to my certain scenario. I don't play the game enough to know the rules too in-depthly. Like, I don't know the modes in-depthly. I don't know how the jackpots are structured in the multi-balls. I don't know any of that. But I do know how to start my 2x multiplier. I know how to start that very frequently, and I do. And it's the lights out mode. And so it feels like 30% of the time I'm playing this game, I'm in lights out. And I don't know what is happening. I don't know what's worth anything. And it's so boring, man. Combine that with a pretty meh layout. Certain shots I think are pretty good. Like I like the right side. Like, I really like that right orbit, and the right ramp's pretty nice too. Aside from that, game's kind of doo-doo. Nothing against Elliot Eisman as a designer. I'm actually very intrigued and excited to see what he puts out next. But John Wick just isn't it? Next up, we've got a game I'm putting right next to John Wick. We've got Venom. Yeah, this game isn't good, man. This game. Keep in mind, I've put up billions on this game. Like I've played it a lot, but I cannot tell you how on earth the structure of this game works. I kind of understand the grid. I really like the grid, but I feel like it's very hard to like change over all the characters. I don't understand the mini modes. I just like it's the presentation isn't there. It's so confusing. I like the quick locks. I think the quick locks are sick, and anyone who says otherwise just needs to get better. But the presentation's weird. I think for a Venom pinball machine, it's pretty bad, bro. Like Venom's such a cool theme. Like, they could have done a lot of other Marvel properties. You know, they could have done freaking Guardians of the Galaxy 2 if they wanted to. But they chose Venom. And just like as a Venom pinball machine, you look at it and like what's in the center of the playfield? A bell tower. And you know, I get it, like he doesn't the whole sound thing, all the sound vibrations get his little Venom dudes all crazy, but like a bell tower. If I were making a Venom pinball machine, I would just take the Gene Simmons mechanism from Kiss Pinball, the one where the dude with his big mouth, tongue coming out, and just slap that right in the middle of the game, but put Venom's face on it instantly, without a doubt. I think in scenarios like this, it is more than okay to recycle a mech like that. Anyway, combo that with honestly not a great art package. Like I'm a big fan of Zombie Yeti as an artist, but something about this Venom art package just doesn't work. And I think it has to do with a bit of just the colors. I think not only was there an opportunity to do a real dark black and white game, but just nothing, just everything blends into everything. I can't see anything on the artwork. Yeah, I'm thinking Venom might be next to Star Wars, if I'm being honest with you. It's not it's just not a good time from my experience. Next up, we've got one I haven't really decided on. We've got the Uncanny X-Men, because if you've seen my stupidly long trailer reaction to this, you know I was floored, absolutely beyond excited for this game upon the trailer. Jack Danger following up to Foo Fighters, one of the best games of this kind of time frame, followed it up with a game with just like pretty much everything on it was brand new. Like just the way all the shots related to each other and wrapped around all the crossovers, all the ramps. Freaking awesome. But it doesn't shoot good. Upon playing it in person, it's freaking hard, man. Like it's so hard to get that thing going. And I'm not against a difficult game, but sometimes I feel like I shoot that shot dead on and it still just doesn't work. I don't get the points for it. And like it's it's got this sharp shooting kind of design. Every shot feeds a flipper directly, right? This thing should be a combo dream, a flowing masterpiece. But when all the shots are so finicky and so you got to be so precise, it just leaves you bricking all the time. And due to the nature of the bottom third, it's so different. And when I say different, I mean just like the way the ball comes back to the flippers. It's really hard to predict, unlike any other game I've played before. And so there is that unfamiliarity. As much as I'm always looking for new ways to innovate and want to see people go back to the older games and take inspiration from those, like Jack has done here, it's a very it just leaves me like it's like playing. It's so different to the point where it just leaves me really struggling to just like play it. I don't know how to put it because I love wacky games with like bottom thirds, but when you've got like a fast, steep game with this crazy layout, it's really, really confusing to play, I find. But aside from that, the presentation of this game just ain't it. The like the just a bit like back to Led Zeppelin. It just feels like you're never getting anywhere. You're just always going for another mode. Oh, I guess I'll do another mode now. It doesn't feel like gotten anywhere and progressed. It's nowhere near as stale as Led Zeppelin in that regard, but it just something about it. And the artwork, a bit like Venom to me. I don't think like when I look at everything individually on the playfield and the translate, I'm really blown away by the art package. Everything's so tiny, man. It's all so tiny. There's nothing. It's just like the game just doesn't have the artwork. Just isn't there. It's just like colors when you look at it from a distance. And not to mention they shoved like heaps of like purple and blue GI all over this game that's constantly going. It just washes out all the art. Which like if I was Zombie Yeti and I saw they did that to my art package, I'd be pissed off, man. But I'm thinking C tier. I know I've just talked a lot of shit to put it in C tier, but there's just something about it. Just there will never be a game like this again. It's based on the reactions to X-Men, and I guess the resale value of it is a numbers way to say what the public feedback of this game is, right? If everybody's trying to sell it, then that says something. So we won't see a game like this again. And there is a lot of merit to this design. Like this design on paper, mind blown. One like absolutely insane and inspiring. To be honest with you, it is awesome. I think it's a shame that it got rushed out into production and that other things like the code just hasn't been there to support it to support such a unique thing. Next up, we have Dungeons and Dragons. I really don't know what to think about this game, eh? I'll say right away, my main gripe with the playfield design is the gelatinous cube, and not the mech itself. I think it's cool how it has the double magnet kind of thing on it, but it blocks the view of the ball feeding the top flipper. So if you shoot that left orbit, the chances of you actually making a shot from that flipper are so slim because it comes around so fast, and you don't know the ball's there until it's already past your flipper. It's like, who let that? Like, this game would have gone through so many people. No one said like, "Hey, I can't see the ball when it comes to the top flipper." Couple that with just some very like some extremely tight shots to the point where when I'm playing, I just like skip some of them entirely. I just pretend like they're not there. It's just a waste of time even trying to go for them. And a freaking confusing ass rule set. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this game because I have had a lot of fun playing it. Like I've gone through the whole map and I've got a new character, but I think because I'm always in a new state. For me personally, I can't. I really like when I play pinball. I really like knowing exactly what's happening and how to optimize like what's happening on the playfield at any time. And like if I go for this shot, it will double my score, but it could be really risky. You know what I mean? I feel like in Dungeons and Dragons, I'm just like it's just like, oh cool, now shoot all these shots. It's just like just giving me heaps of just shots to shoot that mean nothing. And I'm going through this map and it's just like nothing's ever the same in terms of the modes. They're all different, but it's all just like shoot enough shots to finish the mode. From my experience, at least, that's the way that's my takeaway from the game. I'm sure there's a lot more depth and effort put into the game to make it thematically like accurate and immersing. But when I'm trying to get through, I don't know, it just feels like a chore to play sometimes. Um, I don't know whether to go DLC tier because it's not because it does it does a lot of new things with the rules and the whole insider connected save progress. But I think just like I don't feel the need to save my progress in the way that like I don't know what any of my progress even is to begin with. So if I'm saving it, it just doesn't mean anything to me, you know? Like I can never tell where I am in the game at a time. Like the game never really feels like I'm at a really epic point enough to really warrant me like going, oh, thank God I had to save progress so I can try that mode again. You know what I mean? Some of the multi balls are cool. Not the gelatinous cube one, but the one with the heaps of dragons at the end, like maybe a white dragon. That's pretty cool, but I don't know. I'd rather not play that game. And then this leads us with the final Spike 2 game. Started with Batman 66 in 2016 and finishes with King Kong in 2025. Designed by Keith Elwin. This is more of a Godzilla follow-up than Jaws ever was. I believe Keith Elwin would have Godzilla would have released by the time he started drawing up King Kong, if I had my timelines correct there. And obviously, King Kong and Godzilla have a lot of history and a lot of similarities thematically. King Kong, still very new. I played a lot of it, and I feel like I've done everything in the game. Like, and for a Keith Elwin game, that's a lot to say, because those games are freaking deep. And I know he fleshes out the start of his games a lot more and doesn't worry about the back end. But I feel like I've truly done everything I can in this game, and it's freaking sick. We're just gonna like I'm seeing this video is going on long. We're just gonna put it in A tier, without a doubt. It's one of, if not one of the best layouts I've played. The gong, I was a big fan upon the release. You know, I saw the trailers. I thought that gong is awesome. You got to go premium because you got to have that gong. Maybe it's just the one I'm playing. Maybe the operator isn't like really what's the word, like making sure that the game's playing 100%. But that gong, I feel like, is so iffy on whether it registers or the ball goes through it. And for such a dangerous and crucial shot, it can really throw you off. And that's just the copy I played. But I think I would rather have the gong there than it not. You know what I mean? I think King Kong is freaking spectacular, and I think people I feel like there's been a bit of negative backlash to it, but I don't know, man. I don't know where's the backlash. I think this game's going to be a bit like Congo, the '90s game. You know, sure, there weren't many units sold back then, and all that. You know, the market was coming down. People aren't playing pinball much more. People aren't buying games. But I think King Kong's going to be like Congo. You're going to get a lot of people in the future wanting King Kongs, buying King Kongs, and a lot of designers taking influence from King Kong, without a doubt. I think this game is overhated without a doubt. Now, I'm going to quickly see if there's any games I should move around. The C tier is quite big. Feels a bit rude having all these games in the C tier with each other because a lot of them they're not all at the same level. You know what I mean? But it's the tier list that's in front of me. I think I will say that if you look at the size of this C list, you can see that the phrase "Stern slop" is true. Stern really does put out a lot of slop, and it's never terrible. Absolutely not. But they do, you know, they do they're in a position where they put out so many games a year, they can afford not to put their heart into their 100% into every project. And I think, or at least I can see that with how I've experienced these games through this visualized tier list. Um, anyway, if you disagree with me, which I'm sure you do, and if I made this tier list a week later, it would look a lot different. But if you disagree with me, let me know. I want to hear it. I want to hear everyone's opinions. And yeah, I just thought it would be a bit of fun to kind of rank all these games just after this kind of generation is wrapped up, and look back at this really influential and massive kind of generation of pinball machines that, in my opinion, will be like like the 90s Belly Williams games, like kind of the top tier that everyone wants. Everybody wants those games, but I think in decades to come, we're going to see a lot of people wanting these Sterns without a doubt, and specifically the Spike Tube era. I think this has been an absolutely great era of pinball, and will be interesting to see where Spike 3 goes. It's going to be it's not going into the strongest of pinball economies, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like the video, comment, tell me I'm wrong. We'll yeah, we'll get this done. How do I stop recording?